Hey guys, and welcome to the Working Money channel. So look at this, crypto is seeing some green this morning, and you know what else I noticed? Cryptocurrencies now sit at 3,000 different types. That's right, there are now 3,000 different cryptocurrencies listed on this particular website. And, you know, I'm still going to say this, and Brad Garlinghouse has said the same, 99% of these coins will probably fall by the wayside once we see a grand scheme for regulatory clarity in the space. It's funny how people keep pumping them out thinking that it's 2017 all over again. Anyway, the thing I thought was interesting, particularly about this, is that XRP continues to slowly climb against BTC's price. So guys, this is Bitcoin on the daily. And the chart ain't looking so good. This from Bull Run Wonka, that's at Willy Wonka XRP on Twitter. True story, BTC's first stop, 7,200. He retweets this Peter Schiff post. The Bitcoin chart looks horrible. Not only does the flag that followed the recent breakdown project a move to 6,000, but we are close to completing the right shoulder of a Head & Shoulders top with a 14,000 head and a neckline just below 8,000. That projects a collapse to below 2,000, guys. I don't know if Bitcoin's going to go down that far, although this doesn't look like very strong buying power here. We're seeing, low volume. Bitcoin has just kept hovering in this $8,000 range for a while. Bull Run Wonka is saying it's going to go down to, its first stop is 7,200. That would bring us around here for Bitcoin. But guys, you know what's interesting? Let's first of all look at XRP on the daily. We've seen nothing but upward momentum for XRP, which is great. Positive pressure, and if you look at XRP versus BTC, you can see the same thing, right? The momentum has shifted. So this is XRP in comparison to BTC, and during the altcoin rally of December 2017, early 2018, we saw that huge shift. We saw it here when XRP particularly moved up before last year's swell, which was October 2018. It moved up here in mid-September, and now we're starting to see that momentum shift as well. So again, guys, this is the XRP BTC chart on the daily. And guys, Bitcoin dominance keeps falling. So as I had originally stated back on this day, because this is where this line starts, this was September 18th, we were starting to see Bitcoin dominance go down. I don't want to call it a projection because I wasn't actually suggesting that this was the time frame and these were the movements, but this was a key thing to look at here. Okay, this level of support, we haven't really hit that for BTC dominance, although you guys can see this, right? It is slowly moving downward with slow corrections along the way, so that's a good sign that there could be an altcoin run. I don't know what's going to happen with Bitcoin, but what I am happy to see is that XRP is starting to move independently from Bitcoin. Saw this from AMB Crypto. So this Ripple's Breanne Madigan highlights the United States' lack of regulatory clarity. And as we know, there is a lack of regulatory clarity and it needs to be resolved. So this from the OECD Global Blockchain Policy Forum in Paris. Some of the highlights in this article, just going to read you this. Madigan stated that several financial services were still involved with paper documentation. Even after a move to digital format was widely evident, the implementation of DLT in these traditional institutions is necessary to facilitate innovation. So some people are still using paper documentation even after going digital. So this just goes to show you guys how much in the dinosaur age these companies are still operating in. So Breanne Madigan goes on to reiterate Ripple's vision, bringing together financial institutions and technology-based companies for settlement of cross-border payments. Talks about that whole thing, that it can be used as a bridge currency, obviously free up trapped capital and make the process of sending money cross-border faster, less expensive, and more scalable by providing liquidity on demand. She says the lack of clarity in terms of regulations and guidance is still a major concern. The U.S. government continues to keep a tight lid on the do's and don'ts for the crypto space as regulatory constraints may see potential companies and innovations drift toward regions with a clearer framework, she added. No doubt as the industry continues to mature, governments and policymakers are feeling the urgency for more regulatory clarity. The U.S. and other pro-innovation countries can set the tone for the rest of the world to follow, and we hope that they will. So another push from a Ripple employee to the government, to the US government, to get on that regulatory clarity. And she's mentioning this at this blockchain summit in Paris on a global stage, I assume, with many different people from different countries around the world representing their own country with regards to blockchain technology. So there you go. You still have people from Ripple, you know, going around and essentially, you know, hammering that point home that the regulatory clarity needs to be in place in order for them to operate properly. And so we know Ripple's third quarter results came out. I saw this from Crypto Wolf. I'm going to get back to this in a second, but first this, Ripple's sales of XRP decreased 74% to 66.2 million in quarter three. Ripple claims of FUD increased significantly. So Ripple concerned with the FUD, I thought was kind of interesting. Let me read you some of this first. So we got that. They're essentially doing what they said they were going to do, decrease sales of XRP in this quarter, which they said that last quarter, and sure enough, they did. They stayed up here how they are voluntarily, or how they provide voluntary, unparalleled transparency while urging others in the industry to follow. So they're just setting out what they've been doing all along. They talk about the gifted XRP, and then down here give some statistics. So the speed of XRP versus Bitcoin. So these are some Bitcoin statistics. XRP versus Bitcoin, 3.8 seconds for an XRP transaction versus 9.2 minutes for a Bitcoin transaction. 1,500 transactions per second for XRP and 7 for Bitcoin. And the fee, 0.0003 cents in XRP versus 0.758 or close to 76 cents in BTC. So we can clearly see here that there is an advantage to using XRP over Bitcoin. And here's something I found kind of interesting with regards to this report. Ripple dedicated a significant portion of the report, so not just made an offhand comment, but dedicated a significant portion, guys, and just hear me out for a second, to addressing an uptick in FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt, and the spread of misinformation about XRP. Ripple claimed that bots pushed narratives including dumping XRP and flooding the market via sales and price manipulation, to which the company claimed that Ripple plays a very limited role. So Ripple is suggesting that, I mean, if they are dedicating a significant portion of the report to this idea that FUD could be a detrimental, or rather could have a detrimental effect on Ripple, the company, or XRP, the cryptocurrency, Ripple sees this as something that, in my opinion, could have an effect on their business and who signs up, although I don't think that that is the biggest problem. I think it's more the fact that they want people to realize that XRP is a valuable asset and they don't want it lumped in with all those other cryptocurrencies, including some of the ones that have been fueled by speculative trading. All right, so that's my opinion on this. I think they want investors and people to look at XRP as something with intrinsic value that will go up in price because of its utility and because of its intrinsic, essentially just its intrinsic value. It doesn't have that value right now, but intrinsically it means a lot more because of what it can do versus some of these other cryptocurrencies, like 99% of coins that Brad talks about, that will likely disappear within the coming years. According to Ripple, it's all on us to rise above the FUD and the tone deaf who treat digital assets like a religion instead of technologies that can solve real world problems. So this is the point, okay? The FUD, I mean, I've always felt that, you know, over the last year or so, 2 years, however long it's been at this point, I felt like the FUD just kind of rolled off Ripple's shoulders. But now they've dedicated a significant portion of this report to it. And I think that when they're talking about bots on Twitter, you know, slamming XRP, slamming the company Ripple, this could have an effect, again, not on the relationships they're building, because clearly, you know, people are already enlisted with Ripple. Banks, 200 plus banks, organizations at higher levels like the IMF. So I don't think they're too worried about those business partnerships. But with regards to XRP and the value, the intrinsic value it has, I think Ripple is becoming protective of that. Anyway, that's just a quick take on that. And then continuing with this article, I found a few things here as well. Oh yeah, so I just wanted to talk, guys. So I just talked briefly about this. Ripple also said that Twitter bots were responsible. So yeah, this with regards to the Twitter bots, Ripple cannot control XRP price. XRP is traded on a fully functioning and independent digital asset market, including over 140 exchanges, in which Ripple plays a very limited role. As a stakeholder of XRP, Ripple is an interested party in its success. We are aligned with other XRP stakeholders and focused on supporting a healthy XRP community. So this again, just points to the fact that Ripple is indeed, in my opinion, concerned about what it could do to XRP's price and its utilization if bots, as they say, or other FUD is creeping up in the space. So I thought this was poignant. As a stakeholder of XRP, so they're saying they hold XRP, they have a stake in it, they want it to do well. Ripple is an interested party in its success, and that they are aligned with other XRP stakeholders and focused on supporting a healthy XRP community. And guys, we're part of this stakeholder group, right? We're going to be the market makers of the future. We hold XRP now, and when that demand comes online for XRP, we will be the ones selling it to the market at a profit. So I thought that was kind of interesting, them discussing the FUD and how it made up quite a large portion of their Q3 report. And then Leonatus, Haji Lozu on Twitter, does the XRP Arcade, and he's updated this. So XRP Arcade Ripple ecosystem infographic updated, and you can get more information here, guys. I will link this tweet in the description if you want to go to this link, but just a quick infographic of the Ripple ecosystem and, you know, all the different partnerships from all the different countries, what categories they're in. I thought this is great. You know, Leonatus always, you know, has always been, as long as I can remember at least, a very important participant in the XRP community, continuing to make these infographics just to show how much Ripple has progressed over the years. So we got the country here on one side, banks, money transfer, and other companies. Again, guys, I will link this in the description. Great work, Leonatus. And finally this, I saw this, XRP Darren at Fame 21 more, and I saw this from someone else as well. This is rolling around the internet. WTF, there's a bear on Ripple's website. Yeah, guys, their 404 page has this blue bear. So, what's your take on this? You who choose to lead must follow, but if you fall alone. If you should stand, then who's to guide you? If I knew the way, I would take you home. Is this Ripple trolling us with a bear riddle or not? Well, I don't think it is. You scroll down here, and if you take a look, I don't know, some people are writing down here, what was it? Okay, so Cryptopolis says, I can confirm investment perspectives. Now, this is turning into a Rod Serling show. Not even he can make this up. Digital asset investor, awesome. Remember, Ripple was named from Ripple, a Grateful Dead song. Makes it even more interesting. So apparently there is a Grateful Dead song called Ripple, and Digital Asset Investor is saying that Joel Katz and Chris Larson are fans, and here's just a snapshot with Jerry Garcia from the Grateful Dead on the left and David Schwartz on the right. Wow, similarity is uncanny, isn't it? You continue down here, and Rockefeller Jr. on Twitter connects the dots as well. So here's the 404 page, a David Schwartz tweet. If you go, no one may follow. That path is for your steps alone. RIP Robert Hunter, an inspiration to us all. Without him, Ripple would not be Ripple. So there you go. Don't you think Jason Lee could play Robert Hunter in a Grateful Dead biopic? All right, if that were my project, I'd cast him in an instant. Here are the Ripple lyrics and the Grateful Dead bears, okay? So it indeed does have to do with the Grateful Dead, but we couldn't get away without alluding to a different bear in the XRP community. You who believe must buy, but if they fail, you fail broke. If you should wait, then when is moon? If you knew, you could buy a new home. And this from PhDJ, that's at PhDJ Does Tweets on Twitter. People in this community are hilarious. Anyways, I want to hear what you guys think. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Like the video if you like the content I'm providing. I always love hearing your comments. See you in the next one, guys.